right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Hit the Button, entitled A Change of Worlds. And I'm here joined by the Elder Chanak from the San Francisco camp.
Shalom, shalom.
GMS dedication. And pretty much, we're doing some running around. Got something to eat, and then we just decided to come out to the park out here and do a little quick live lesson. And this is pretty much the title that came to mind. I was just going to do a hit the button, but then A Change of Worlds came to mind because that was a book, if I'm not mistaken, that Elder Abba Bivens years ago wrote. And there was a copy at the school. I'm not sure if I ever read that actual book, or if I had a copy of it. I don't really remember. It was so long ago. But that is the sentiment. The world has been run. Let's start off with Luke 21:24. The world has been run by the Gentile empires, or the empires of the nations, going all the way back to the beginning of time up into the present. There was a, you could say, like a pause in the heathens' rulership fully during the time of King Solomon, when there was 40 years of peace on the earth. But after that, the nations always had their rule. Even when Jake was ruling, which they were ruling in wickedness anyway during the time of the Byzantine Empire, the nations still had their empires going, and all nations on the planet Earth have had a chance to rule, the world at one point or another. We just happen now to be at the last rulership of the world, which is Esau's rulership. So you could read that.
Yep, this is Luke 21:24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Right, and then pretty much the nations are the ones ruling on the planet. But you could say, like, the world is Eden, as the scriptures say, and the world is like a gigantic kingdom that's being ruled, and Jerusalem would be like the throne. And right now you have the heathens that are in the land of Jerusalem, because when the kingdom is established, that's going to be the capital of the world, Jerusalem. That's going to be where the main kingdom is going to be. And right now the heathens have it. There's a map that shows the land of Jerusalem chopped up into 4 quarters. You have the Christian quarter, you have the Muslim quarter, you have the Armenian quarter, and you have the small hat quarter. So these nations are occupying our land right now, and like I said, that happens to be the center of the world, of the earth, and it's also the center of the seat of authority of rulership. And right now they're in control of that. And if you have any precepts or anything you want to bring out, Babakusha, they have control of it right now. So right now what we're waiting for is Yahushua to come back, crack the clouds, and deliver us so that he can establish himself upon the throne. And if you don't have anything, you got something?
Yeah, I got something. Yeah, this is Isaiah 63:18. It says, "The people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries have trodden down thy sanctuary."
Beautiful. You could break it down.
And basically, like what the apostles going into, the nations, they're in that land. Jerusalem, the capital, where everything's going to be ruled out of, and they have parted that land and took it upon themselves to be, the leaders of the world, and are running the world in wickedness. And we're the Israelites. We're supposed to be in that land, but we've only really possessed that land for a very small moment.
Yep.
But in the time to come, what is it? A change of world? A change of world? Yeah. a change of world is coming, and you're going to have the Israelites that are going to be ruling the earth in righteousness. I think that was pretty much it on that.
So what I got here is I got 1 Corinthians 15 and 22. It says, "For as in Adam all die, even so in Yahushua shall all be made alive." That's talking about the Israelites, right? Because that's who the main people or the elect of the Most High are, the Israelites, not all nations. It says, "But every man in his own order, Yahushua, because Yahushua is the king on the earth, over the nation of Israel. And we can't get our glorification until he gets his glorification first." So it says, but every man in his own order, Yahushua, the first fruits, which the first fruits would be the elect, right? It says afterward they that are Yahushua's at his coming, because the elect will have the first resurrection. Matter of fact, you could get Revelation 20 and what is that, 6, around the 6th verse, because the first resurrection, you can start at 5. The first resurrection or the first dominion is going to be Yahushua ruling on the throne in Jerusalem, on the earth, and the elect ruling with him. That's going to be the first resurrection, which that first resurrection goes hand in hand with the prophets, because the prophets, although the scriptures don't say it like this, the prophets are the 144,000. These are the prophets that have been prophesying, since the beginning of the world until now. And they're going to be rewarded in the kingdom as the first rulers. They're going to have the top positions of rulership on the planet.
Yep.
You got it.
This is Revelation 20 and 5. "But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished."
Right, and those dead, because you have unlearned individuals out there that say that's talking about, the Israelites are going to be sleeping in the kingdom during the time of the kingdom, and after 1,000 years they're going to wake up and go into destruction. No, going to hell. No, and vocab simple behind. And even Abu, I got to give it to that devil Abu. Vocab said, well, Tahar, doesn't believe in hell because that's where he's going. And then even Abu said, yeah, if he doesn't repent, which is all BS. There's no such thing as hell. But even that devil Abu, even he had the presence of mind. He said, oh, unless he repents, even though it's all BS, But vocab is just gone, and I think just vocab, he's just losing it.
Yeah.
So no, that's not what that's talking about. The rest of the dead being the other nations. And why does it call them dead? Because when you are a nation that is in captivity or slavery under another nation, it's as if you're dead, because you really don't own anything. You're nothing but a slave. You don't have any rights. You don't have a mouth to speak. You have no status. You have no say. So it's as though you were dead. Your status is the status of nothingness.
Yep.
Like
it says in Revelation 11 chapter, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the great city," which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, speaking about our people in a dead-like state, like the apostles going into, don't own anything, don't know their nationality, don't know their language, don't know their God. They don't have the Holy Spirit upon them. We're like in a dead-like state. But now the Spirit of Yahweh Shemashai is upon us, starting with the 144,000 and the rest of the elect, the first fruits. Now we're no longer dead; we're alive.
That's right. Right, and then that dead that we read in Revelation 20 and verse 5 is applying directly to the nations.
Right.
But we're making the point of how you become dead, like the valley of the dry bones. He said that they were very dry.
Yep.
They were very dead. They were just pretty much bugged out. So the nations, once the 1,000 years are fulfilled, then they're going to be able to get a position of authority again amongst themselves in their lands, but they will always be tributary.
Yep.
You got it.
"But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection."
This is the first resurrection, meaning the Israelites that make it, that are part of the elect, that's going to be the first resurrection, or the first time as a whole in the world that the nation of Israel is going to be ruling underneath Yahushua. So let's go back here. That was it on that, right?
Now you want me to get 6?
Okay, read 6.
Yep. It says, blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection.
Beautiful. Okay.
On such the second death has no power.
Right, because the second death is the nuclear destruction and the lasers from the chariots. The first death was the flood. So in this time, the elect are not going to get caught up in this destruction, this final destruction. So they're going to be blessed because they're going to have part in the first resurrection, or the first dominion of the kingdom of heaven. Matter of fact, get what is that? Malachi 4:8, is it? I believe it's Malachi 4:8. Because the prophets are going to be the first ones.
What does it say? It's only 6 verses in Malachi.
Malachi 4. Okay, I'm sorry, not Malachi. Try Micah 4. Micah 4:8. Yes, Micah 4:8.
Yep.
You know.
Micah 4:8. And thou, O tower of the flock.
Right. Who's the tower of the flock? The prophets. That's the tower of the flock. Yep. They're the ones that watch out for the flock. And thou, O tower of the flock, what?
Yep. It says, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come.
Right. You're the stronghold of the daughter of Zion. You're what the Lord uses to edify and to watch and to warn over the flock or over the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
Yep. Even the first dominion.
Right, unto thee shall it come, even what? The first dominion, which is what? The first rulership. So who is going to be the head, or the 144,000 that make it, that sit on thrones as kings? Those are going to be the prophets. Go ahead.
It says, the kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem.
Right, and the kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Daughter, singular, is a representation of the men of Israel. But the flock of the Most High's pasture, which are men or Israelite men, really right now at this particular time in the fight apply to the elect.
Yeah.
The prophets, the teachers, you know, the ministers of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You want to say something?
No.
All right, good. Is that it?
Yeah, that was it on that.
Okay, so now I'm going to go back to, and there's brothers putting up precepts on the comment board. So I'm turning this one.
Okay, so
reading. Oh, check out the time. Can you see it?
Oh, wow.
444. Oh, shit, Salaka. Right there, 444.
Yeah, I see it.
It just turned to 445. All right, so we're going back to 1 Corinthians, and if you know any juicy precepts.
Okay, yeah.
1 Corinthians 15 and 23. But every man in his own order. Yahushua the first fruits, afterward they that are Yahushua's that is coming. Then cometh the what? The end. The end of what? The end of this age. What did the disciples, before they became apostles, ask Yahushua? You know, what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the what? The end of the world, or the end of the age. That's why it's important to understand words in the Paleo Hebrew and in the Koine Greek, which the Koine Greek happens to be the modern name for the modern Greek. All right, it's not the ancient Greek. The ancient Greek is totally different, you know, in a pronunciation than the modern Greek, which is the Koine Greek. So it says, then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down what? All rule and all authority and power. Why? Because Yahushua was given all rule, power, authority. But it said that he has to sit on the right hand of the Most High until the Lord make his enemies his footstool.
That's it.
So until the Most High said, okay, son, this is it. You go down there, and then you're going to get this dominion that I told you about. Now you can have your enemies in check, under your feet. All right, and that's what that word end of the world means in the book of Matthew 24, around verse 3. When they asked him, what is the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world, or the end of an age, or the end of this uninterrupted rule? You have something?
Yeah, I got a quick precept.
And I'll come back to that.
Okay, Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Beautiful.
And in righteousness he does judge and make war. Right, this is Yahushua coming back to do that very act of taking all these nations down. His eyes were as flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. And that's basically what, you know, the final the final transfer of power is going to be when Yahushua comes physically in this world, with the chariot, the mighty angels. That's during the time of World War III, and he's going to physically take the crowns off these nations' head. Okay.
Yeah. Which basically means he's going to get the credit for taking them down and ruling over them. It's not that Yahushua is going to have 100,000 crowns on his head. Like yes.
Yeah.
You know, like you get the world boxing championship.
He got all the belts and stuff like that.
Belts.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be like that. Yahushua ain't going to have. He's going to stand up and kill everybody, all the nations, and then all the crowns are going to come flying and just stick into him. You know? Nah. He's going to get the credit. But
he like the apostle said, he's going to get the credit. But that's going to be the final transfer of powers when Yahushua comes back to basically to destroy their world. And then that's when the 144,000, the first fruits, that's when that rule begins.
That's it.
Okay, that eternal rule where none of these other nations are going to be able to come into power or even have a glimpse of going back into the land of Jerusalem or having any say so. They're going to be a perpetual slavery under the Israelites.
That's right. And the only time they will step foot in Jerusalem is when they're working,
giving gifts,
bringing, carrying, big ass gold or silver to lay streets down whatever buildings they got to lay down. Make sure, because the kingdom is going to be pristine. Every flower, every blade of grass, every tree, every bush, everything is going to be perfect. There's not going to be anything out of line because the nations are going to be on it. Making sure everything is pristine.
Yeah, that was it on that.
That was it, okay. So going back to 1 Corinthians 15:24, then come at the end when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and authority and power.
Oh, that going back into Revelation 19. That's basically what's happening from that precept right there.
It says, for he must reign till he hath put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. It says, for he hath put all things under his feet. But when he saith all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted, which did put all things under him, which proves that the Most High and Yahushua are separate. Because he said the Most High gave everything under him. Is nothing in the universe, the earth, anything that the Most High did not give to his son Yahushua. The only one that he doesn't have authority over is the Most High himself.
That's heavy.
So how in the hell could they be the same person? So was that it on that?
Yeah, that was it on that.
All right. So I know the brother had put a precept up on this on here.
Isaiah.
It was I think it was the elder out of Des Moines. He used to be in Chicago. Mathathia. Yeah, that's him right there.
Right there. Second Ezra.
Is there more? What else did he put up? Like he put up.
Okay, yeah. Second Ezra 2.
Yeah. That might be.
Okay, yeah. Second Ezra 2. Okay, let me go to that.
Second Ezra 2 and 20.
20, and then you can read down 22.
Yeah, he went down to 23 actually.
Okay. Yeah, Second Ezra 2 and 20. Do right to the widow, judge for the fatherless, give to the poor, defend the orphan, clothe the naked, heal the broken and weak. Laugh.
That's Second Ezra 2.
Second Ezra 2. Heal the broken and the weak. Laugh not a lame man to scorn. Defend the maimed, and let the blind man come into the sight of clearness. Keep the old and young within thy walls. I think that's what he put. No. Second Ezra 2.
Yeah, so that's Second Ezra 2.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Maybe a point we was probably going into.
Yeah.
I'll go.
I'll go to the 4th chapter of Second Ezra.
Second Ezra 4.
You got the other one.
I got the other one too.
Yeah, go to Second Ezra 4 and start at 26.
Okay.
The point is a little further down.
2 Ezra 4:26. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hasten fast to pass away.
Right, the world hastens fast to pass away. Why? Because eternity that we will be ruling for is nothing in comparison to these almost 6,000 years, because it's been 5,000 plus years since Adam's been on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So in that short period of time, that's nothing in comparison to eternity. You know? So at the end of the day, you know, that ain't nothing. So this world that has been given all this time that we think 100 years is such a long time is nothing, because it's quickly passing away. Go ahead.
And cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come.
Right, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. Why? Because right now people are always concerned with the here and now.
Yep.
They're concerned with the things that are seen. You know, so if you don't have anything to show for your life here, however many years you've been here, they consider you to be a loser.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the losers are the winners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got it. That's a lesson for somebody.
And
the losers are the winners.
Yep. Well, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
There you go. The losers shall be winners.
And cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in the time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities.
Right, and we see that. That's what the scriptures say. What? Set a seal and a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Because this world is wicked. You know, Elder Apostle Rakah. That's all he talks. His spirit is so heavy that all he talks about is the wickedness of this world. I mean, round the clock.
Yeah.
That's all he talks about. You know, every once in a while he might talk about a boxing match or something, but his whole conversation, day in and day out, is how wicked this place is.
It's heavy spirit.
You know, because the spirit is heavy because of the wickedness. You know, that's on this earth, and how it's becoming more and more wicked. Which that's going to be the next scripture, Lord, is what we get. Go ahead.
It says, where was I? Okay, verse 28. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come.
The evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet sown. Let me bring out this precept to go hand in hand with that. This is Isaiah 26:18, right? It says, we have been with child, meaning the Israelites. We've been ready to be delivered. We paying to be delivered. No, even Jeremiah said the harvest is past, the summer is past, the harvest is gone, or something. The harvest is gone, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. Right? We have been with child, we have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind, because we're still not delivered. Remember what Ezra asked the Lord. Lord, if we be your people, your favorite, you know, why do we not have a possession with the world? Why are these heathens that have ever been reputed as being nothing governing over us? Right? It says, we have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. You see? So you got to read that verse again. So the inhabitants of the world haven't fallen just yet.
2 Ezra 4:28. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come.
Right, because in order for the kingdom to be established, the heathen kingdoms have to fall. That was the plan that the Lord had. This is what Daniel the 2nd chapter and Daniel the 7th chapter are about. It's about major empires that would be ruling from a particular time, going back to the Assyrio-Babylonian Empire, all the way up until today, modern day America. And these clowns in the churches, they'll say that America is not written in the Bible. Well, guess what? When you read the Old Testament and the New Testament, well, let me rephrase that. America is not written in the scriptures as being America, but they are written in code as Babylon the Great, as Babylon the Great, as Egypt, modern day Egypt, as Sodom, as Nineveh, you know, and as all of these major empires that were on the earth, because America has taken on all of the traits of all of these major empires that have ruled on the planet Earth. Go ahead.
Verse 29.
If I'm not mistaken, when you read the Old Testament itself, from Genesis to Malachi, not the Apocrypha included, because it mentions in the Apocrypha, but from Genesis to Malachi, I don't believe it mentions the name Rome or Romans in there at all. You know? So how can you equate Daniel the 2nd chapter and Daniel the 7th chapter with Rome? Now the Romans are mentioned in the Apocrypha, but in the books that people have, that because most people don't deal with the Apocrypha, so the books that they have of the scripture of the Old Testament, it doesn't mention Rome or the Romans. You know, in their modern name.
Right.
You know, because it does mention that area, you know, but it doesn't mention Rome itself as the Romans.
Yeah, because the scriptures are a mystery.
That's it.
You know.
And surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants the prophets.
2nd Ezra 4:29. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good.
Right. So if this wicked world doesn't go, the new world cannot be established.
That's right.
Because two kings can't sit on one throne. You can't have righteousness and wickedness ruling at the same time. You know, the wicked got to go down in order for the righteous to be established. Once righteousness is established, you know, the kingdom is going to be perfect. That's why the Apostle Peter said, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Why? Because this present evil world has to be destroyed. Because the whole world lieth in wickedness, as it says in 1 John 5:19. The whole world is in wickedness. So in order for the kingdom to be established, this place has to go, because this place is tainted. And that's why the Lord set it up for destruction. Go ahead.
Yep. For the grain of evil seed has been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. And how much godliness, and how much ungodliness has it brought up unto this time.
That's right.
And how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come?
Right. So in other words, this world is wicked. Well, yeah, still in 2nd Ezra 4?
Yeah, 2nd Ezra 4.
Yeah, this world is wicked. And it was wicked from the time of Adam. You had the flood. You had the repopulation of the earth. Then it became wicked. Then during the time of Ezra, when Ezra was on the scene, around 400 or 500 BC, it was even more wicked. Then by the time of Yahushua, the world became more wicked. And as time progressed, the world became more and more wicked. So how much more wicked is it now?
Yeah, that's it.
And you can see it. The greater the technology, the greater the wickedness. You got it.
Yeah, ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed has brought forth.
Just from that one act, all the way back then, almost 6,000 years ago, because Adam, when you go to the Library of Congress, because Eustace Mullins did his research in the Library of Congress, the guy asked him, how far back does the Library of Congress, the history go back? He said about 5,000 years. And it's been more than 5,000, because it's been close to 6,000 years.
Yeah.
It's 5,000 plus years. So from that point all the way up until now, how much greater and more wicked has the world become? Good?
Well, to the point to where the Lord has to bring fire.
That's it.
You know?
And fire is a purifier.
That's it.
Just like water is a purifier, he destroyed it by water. He said he would never, ever again, destroy it again. This is why you have the rainbow, which these devils corrupted. You have a rainbow, a beautiful symbol.
Yeah.
You can't even wear a rainbow as an honor to the great pledge that the Most High made, because if you wear that, people think you're a Mo. So they corrupted that. You got to pay for that. So water is a purifier. So the Lord purified the earth back then by water. This time he's going to purify it by fire.
That's it.
It's going to be even more gruesome. You got it.
And when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill?
Right. Basically, that's a representation of harvest. You know, the end of the world, like it says in Matthew 13, the harvest is the end of the world. And then once the threshing floor is filled with all of these, you know, whatever you put in it, and you can't fit anymore, well, it's time to thresh.
Yeah, time to thresh.
So once the Lord allows these devils to go, but so far, and that so far would be their new world order. Once they fully establish that and start getting ready to enjoy the fruits of their demonic labor, that's when the Lord is going to bring forth the destruction upon these devils.
Yep. Then I answered and said, how and when shall these things come to pass? Wherefore are our years few and evil?
Mm-hmm.
And he answered me, saying, do not thou hasten above the Most High?
Mm-hmm.
For thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded.
Mm-hmm.
Did not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers,
Mm-hmm.
saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion?
Right, because sometimes you get tired sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But we know that we can't allow that, you know, to rob us of our hope in the Lord, because the Lord is coming. He's going to do his thing. If you can't see that this place is finished, then there's something wrong with you. But we get upset and we get tired because we get tired of looking at this wickedness.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you hear brothers say, man, the Lord got to do something about this place. He got to take this place out, because this place is so wicked. A person that wants to live, you know, a righteous life to the best of their ability, this place becomes vexing.
Mm-hmm. Well, just Lot vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked.
There you go, to the point where you become a recluse or reclusive, like you close yourself off from the rest of the world. You know, unfortunately, we still have to function. So sometimes you'll go out and do certain things, you know, to get what you got to get, but once you get out there, it reminds you again of why you don't really be hanging out like that, and then you want to hurry up and run back to the crib. Hey, brother, I want to get the hell out of this house for a minute, man. As soon as you get out, what is it? 5-10 minutes later, I gotta get back home.
Yeah,
I gotta get back home. You know, because that's how wicked this place is. So read that again.
Yep. Did not the souls also of the righteous ask question of these things in their chambers, mm-hmm. saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion?
Go ahead.
When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward?
Right. When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? Peter asked for it, the Apostle Peter. You know, when is that fruit going to come? When are we going to be rewarded for our patience, our mm-hmm. diligence, you know, our faith, you know, our diligence and devotion and our defense of the gospel? Well, guess what? All of the prophets felt the same way.
Yeah.
Because no one knew, even from back then till today, exactly what day the Lord would come. But we have great hints in the scriptures of Yahushua that he left 2,000 years ago, letting us know when exactly we would be in the time of the very end. And we see it through the prophecies. The prophecies like famines, the uproars of the people, this devastation, the destruction, people's hearts waxing cold, you know, and also
MOTB.
The MOTB, right? Also the technology,
mm-hmm.
that is bringing it to a whole nother level. There never been technology in the world since beginning, I say roughly around the late 1800s into the 1900s, but more so from 1940 and forward.
Yeah.
When they started to get the capability for missiles, so flight, you know, and all of this stuff you see now. Remember those computers back in the days. Right now, the phones that we have, those little, you could have a little tiny phone, nanotechnology that is a computer. Back in the days, you had industrial size, you know, computers.
Yeah, the size of like a whole block.
Yeah, and you would never think that how the fuck could they get all of them components into a little phone like this? So the knowledge has increased, but with that knowledge being increased, so has wickedness.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. It says, and unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of the seeds is fulfilled in you.
Right, because you have an elect, and the elect have to be sealed. And how are the elect sealed? By the word of the Most High, which is the seed. Luke 4:11. The seed, the seed is the word of the Most High. right?
Mhm.
So when the elect are sealed, that's when the destruction is coming. Because by that time, every prophecy would have been fulfilled.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
It says, "For he has weighed the world in the balance."
Right, he's weighed the world in a balance. And the world has become ultra super wicked. Go ahead.
By measure has he measured the times.
Matter of fact, Salaka, can you
Okay.
read that again?
Yep. 36.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, for he has weighed the world in the balance.
Right, he's weighed the world in the balance. I'm going to read this real quick. Isaiah 13:9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Right, because the world is wicked. It says, for the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Why? Because of the soot, ashes, and the smoke from the fire that's going to be engulfing America, the land of Israel, and whatever other place in the world the Lord is going to cause to get hit. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud, which is Esau, and these nations and Jacob, to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So the Lord is going to bring hell upon this place. So pretty much the world is already weighed in the balance.
Yep.
And just like the ancient Babylonian Empire was weighed in the balance, and they were found wanting, guess what? America's found wanting. I forget what brother it was that brought out the fact that they were looking through this telescope up into the heavens, and they said they saw the Hebrew word for tekel. And tekel means you have, I believe that's the one that says you have been weighed in the balance and have been found wanting.
Yeah,
so your time is up. You and these devils know that they got but a short time. This is why they keep a lot of stuff. This is why they keep a lot of stuff under wraps, in secret. If we was to know the things that these devils have found out over the years, we already happy because we know the end is coming. But we would be like, damn, I wish I might be here tomorrow. Just from the amount of things that the Lord revealed to these devils. You want to say something?
No. That was it. Verse 37. By measure has he measured the times, and by number has he numbered the times, and he does not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. Right,
so until the time comes for that prophecy to be fulfilled, that prophecy will not be fulfilled. Because time dictates prophecy. If the Lord said, okay, I'm going to have a prophecy that's going to happen, let's say within 100 years. Well, guess what? When that 100 years comes, then the prophecy is fulfilled. Unless the Lord cuts the time short, which he can do that, like he did with the Babylonian Empire.
Yeah.
He said they were going to rule for 70 years. They ruled for around 66, 67 years. But the Lord could do that. He could cut the time short. Did not Yahweh Shai said, unless those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be left to be saved.
So that would make it. That would pretty much prove that the Lord is going to cut this time short. For the elect's sake.
Shit.
So, that's why I said in Romans the 13th chapter that our salvation is nearer than when we believed, because things are going to happen quick. After one big event, it's just going to be a spiral all the way into the end. We actually see. Well, the MOTB technology is already here. They're already putting these C chips, these chips inside people's brains. That's the prophecy now. It just he has to make it mandatory. That's all.
That's it.
So we're very close. Okay.
Yeah, and the way they're gonna get people to take it by at the beginning is by deception.
Yep.
Then after they get enough people to take it, then they're gonna make it mandatory to fulfill prophecy once again. Because the prophecy says that you're gonna have those that resist that are gonna get their heads cut off, chopped off for resisting the image and the mark and and the number of the beast. So you people out there that can't see this is because the Lord blinded you. Everything is right in your face.
That's it.
I mean, everywhere, every time you turn around, You see this technology right in your face. You see the world going in the direction of becoming cashless. You see more and more restrictions to be able to get to food and be able to get access to these things. Even from the way that you pay for these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's becoming more and more restricted. But you still can't see that you either can't see because the Lord blinded you, or you can't see because that bag blinded you, and you can't see.
Well, the scriptures say a gift destroys the heart.
Boom.
You know, and it sways your judgment because you're so focused on the bag and what the bag can do for you, and how the bag has opened up a whole new life for you, that you forget about prophecy. You forget about the Most High. You know.
Was that the last verse?
Yeah, that was the last verse. I got
right.
2 Ezra 14.
Let's go there. Yeah,
okay.
Let's go to 2 Ezra 14. What verse you want?
I'm gonna start at 13.
2 Ezra 14:13.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, this is 2 Ezra 14:13. Now therefore set thy house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. And that's pretty much what we're doing right now through these videos, through going out on the highways and hedges, breaking down the scriptures the right way. We are reproving our people and comforting the elect. Okay. Renounce corruption. Renounce this world. Well, Micah said, was that Micah? How does it go? Micah 2:10, I believe it is.
The rise and depart.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is not your rest.
It is polluted.
It is polluted.
It shall destroy.
Yeah, kind of the water, and you see that. You see how our people are destroyed. Their mind is destroyed. Their bodies are destroyed. Okay, they have no spiritual discernment. Okay, let go from the mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature. All right, and the Most High, he commands us to be men. You know, not in the sense of a man here in Babylon the Great, which that's like a woman really. Worship women. Open the door, hold the door open.
Light a cigarette.
Yeah.
Even help her with a coat. Treat her like a lady.
Nah, but be a man. Go out on the highways and hedges. Deal with your infirmities. Pray.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Be a brother. Fight demons. Continue to be diligent. Okay.
Yep.
And hey, you still fucked up. You still go out. You still push. Push this word. Okay. Not be all. I don't know. I can't speak well. Or my back hurts. No. The Lord said, F that. The burdens of your bills. We all got bills and shit and burdens, family and shit. They're there, but you can't allow that to weigh you down. You have to actually put that on the back burner, man, and put this word first. Okay? And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and hasten thee to flee from these times, because ultimately what's going to happen? All this, this is going to be a crash. Okay, a great crash in society. Esau, he going to shut the internet off. FEMA troops going to be rolling in. Okay, you're going to have, remember, we haven't even went into famine yet. All right, we haven't even went into famine. We're going to experience famine. We've never experienced a time where the grocery stores, there's no grocery stores.
Right.
There's no farms. Right. Talks about the 15th chapter how the farmers are going to they're going to mourn because of the blasting.
Yeah.
So we haven't really experienced a pestilence, like the whole C-19 thing. That wasn't even anything. Where you're going to actually see people with diseases. Dropping dead. Okay, whoa. The scriptures talk about wild beasts. Okay, wild beasts coming up and down. Esau, he has those robot dogs and shit.
Yep.
Okay, the thing we're not even there yet, but we know that we're fastly approaching those times. So, as the book of Peter says, what manner of man should you ought to be? Okay, in all holy conversation. Okay, and godliness. It says, for yet greater. See, that's the point. You want to go into, Apostle.
Okay.
For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen shall be done hereafter. I'm going to read it again. Verse 16. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter.
Yeah, because this is what you see. The bottom line is, You know, the world was wicked back then. You gotta understand this. This is going back about 2,500 years ago, 2,400 years ago, when Ezra was on the scene, the prophet Ezra. He saw the wickedness of the world where he was in at the time. So the Lord said it was wicked back then. But how much more wicked would it be in these times when the Lord was getting ready to deliver us? You know? So you have to look at the world as a whole and look at the straight up debaucherous world that this has become. You know? The world was always wicked, going all the way back to the beginning. You know, when Adam went off, there's always been civilizations that were wicked. They did a lot of wicked shit. But look at the exponential growth, many folds of wickedness that have been played out on the earth today than back then. You know, it's far greater and wicked today, and this is why there's so many goddamn people on the earth. Because I did research years ago to find out, you know, because at that point when I was doing the research, the earth was about 7+ billion people, about 8 billion, close to 8 billion, right? So I did research and found out that back in 1829, I believe it was, that's when they took a consensus or a census, the world, there was 1 billion people.
Wow.
Then when you go up 100 years later, around 1920 something, there was another 1 billion people added. So in 100 years there was 2 billion people. Then from the early 1900, 1920, whatever it was, all the way until today, which has been about another 100 years later, you have 8 billion plus people on the planet. And when I thought about that, you know, the Spirit pretty much revealed to me that the reason why there's so many souls and people on the earth is because the Lord's going to judge them. This is the time of judgment. So he's putting a whole lot of people on the planet earth so he can judge them, you know, for their wickedness. Some are going to be delivered, which is going to be a small handful of the Israelites, of the nation of Israel, of the elect, and the rest are going to be judged in one way or the other. You know? So you got to remember the amount of people that are out here, the amount of wickedness that's out here. The Lord is allowing this so that he can bring forth his judgment. You know? Was that it on that?
One more verse. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age. So much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein.
And evils are increasing. You can see it. We can't even go to the corner store, to the gas station, without something happening. You know, you have people that just go to the gas station to get, you know, some snacks or whatever, end up dead.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a fast food store, which you shouldn't be eating at, and end up, you know, in a situation, in a nasty accident. You know, so the world is wicked. The vibration of the world is wicked. The people of the world are wicked. You know, the intentions of the people are wicked.
You have a wicked ruler. This is the reason why all this is wicked. The whole world is wicked, and under that vibration is because you have Esau, the earth.
The wicked of the earth.
The wicked of the earth. Okay? He's been given power over the earth. So the people have his vibration on them. You know, murder, thieves, right?
As the ruler of the people is.
So are his people.
Yeah, that's right.
That was it on that.
All right, so let's just go. Unless you got some.
No.
The last precept. Unless we got anything else.
Unless you want me to read any of the verses.
Yeah. You could do that. Let me just read this real quick. Daniel 7:13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, which is Yahushua, came with the clouds of heaven, the chariots, and came to the Ancient of Days, the Most High Yahweh, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So what Daniel saw in the vision was all of these major empires ruling, and then Yahushua's kingdom ruling, and all of these dominions coming and being brought up under him. That's what he saw, and this is where we at in prophecy right now, at the very end of this. The bird is looking like, what's going on over here? You know. So you say you wanted to read some?
Yeah, I'm just gonna read just a couple of the brothers put on the comment board. Yeah, this is This is from the brother Spiritual Art 144K, 2 Ezra 5:2. It says, "But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago." Yeah, basically just going, basically we've been speaking about how evil has increased. It's only, and we talk about the wickedness that is happening now. Just how much more wickedness is going to be when people start to agree to allow Esau to put technology inside of them. It's gonna go to a whole nother dimension of wickedness, where Esau has his technology inside of him, and as the apostle was saying, he's going to deceive him first. He's going to deceive him first, but you're gonna have a lot of people that's willingly gonna do it too.
Yeah.
That's willingly gonna actually put those devices inside of them.
Yeah, because they're gonna want to eat. They're not gonna understand the prophecy. Yeah, I don't know what y'all talking about, man. Give me that thing,
Yes, 2 Ezra, this is from the same brother. 2 Ezra 15:6. "For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth,
Beautiful.
and their hurtful works are fulfilled."
Right, because the scriptures say that it is impossible, but that the scriptures must be fulfilled. So pretty much, we're in the fulfillment of prophecy, and the world being wicked as it is, that's fulfillment. That's the fulfillment of prophecy. The fulfillment of the end of this world. The end of this age is going to come by way of wickedness. And that wickedness is going to cause the Most High's judgment to come upon them.
A little more.
Go ahead.
This is for a light affliction, which is but for a moment. Proverbs 29:16.
Beautiful.
"When the wicked are multiplied, transgressive increaseth."
Woo! See, man, brother bringing out them old school precepts. That's what I'm talking about. Read it again.
Yep.
You got to wipe the dust off of that one. Go
Yep.
ahead.
It's this is Proverbs 29:16. "When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth."
Right, and then we read, I believe that was at the camp Friday, was it? First Maccabees, was it? Or was it in one of those lessons we did where the brother brought out the scripture when after
From the Greeks.
Yeah, after Alexander the Greek.
Right, he split up his kingdom to
Right.
4 generals.
Then they put on crowns on their head,
yeah.
and it says wickedness increased.
Yeah.
So that's letting you know that ever since the Edomites took over, during the time of the Greeks, the earth became more and more wicked, because that at that point, at that particular time in the fight, inside joke, that's when the wicked bore rule over the earth.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're the children of the wicked.
Yep.
The 3 classifications of man.
That's it.
The sons of God, the sons of men, and the sons of the wicked.
That's it.
Right? You have the sons of the wicked, all right, that are ruling the earth, putting everybody on their vibration.
Right, and the wicked of the earth, the wicked are not going to rule in righteousness.
No, it's impossible for them.
They're not built like that.
It says, "When the wicked are multiplied, transgressive increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall."
The righteous shall see their fall. Only with thine eyes shall thou behold the iniquity of the reward of the wicked. Just like when the Pharaoh and his armies were chasing Israel, and they got drowned in the sea. What happened? When all their bodies came up, the horses and all that, and Israel saw the dead bodies of the Egyptians in the water. So they saw the reward of the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see it in this time, Lord, will we be the elect from the chariots, looking at the devastation of America, Babylon the Great. Go ahead.
I think that was okay. From 12 tribe Israel, Zechariah 9:12. "Return to the stronghold." This is from the AMP version. "Return to the stronghold of security and prosperity, O prisoners who have the hope."
That's the elect.
"Even today I am declaring that I will restore double for your former prosperity to you."
Right, because the Lord is going to give us a reward for righteousness and good for the hell that we've been put through. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is from.
That's why it says that the tower of the flock of the Most High is going to receive the first dominion. Go ahead.
This is from GMS Tazadak Da Bun Yahawada 144K. Daniel 5:27. Tekel
Yep.
Thou art weighed in the balances, and thou art found wanting.
That's it. And that's what they saw on the telescope, tekel. And the word tekel in the Hebrew means thou have been weighed in the balances and are found wanting, meaning you are found lacking. You were weighed, and the Lord was seeing, okay, is it righteous or not? And your wickedness outweighed your righteousness, so to speak.
This is from Yahweh, Isaiah 46:9. We can close it on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want me to go more, I can do more.
Whatever
Okay.
you want. If you go in the spirit.
Okay, go ahead. Isaiah 46:9. Remember the former things of old, for I am the Most High, and there is none else.
Mm-hmm.
I am the Most High, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done.
Right, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Saying what?
Saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
That's right. So if the Most High is doing all these things, which He is, would not He give us His name so that His name could be exalted when He devastates and destroys the greatest empire, the wickedest empire to ever rule on the planet? He destroyed the Egyptian army to magnify His great name. He put all those plagues on Egypt to magnify His great name. So why would He have to wait to the kingdom of heaven to give us a name when who's going to get credit for all this? The purpose for doing it is so that the Most High's name can be exalted once again in the earth. It says, in that day shall the Lord alone be magnified. So His name is going to be magnified in that day. So everyone's going to know, oh, so it wasn't so-and-so, it wasn't this, it wasn't Jehovah, it wasn't God, it wasn't this. It was Yahweh, through His Son Yahushua, that destroyed this place. All along, that's who it was. That's when His name is going to be remade famous all over again. And after that, it's never going to go back into so-called obscurity ever again. It's going to be made magnified from that point on. It's being magnified now to us, but when the Lord destroys this place, His name is going to, everybody's going to be like, oh, so that's the name of the God of the heavens. Just like Nebuchadnezzar was forced to what? To admit that that's the Most High's name. To give glory to His name. Anybody that don't bow to it, you're going to get jacked up. All right?
That's pretty much
That's it. Yeah. All right, so with that, we pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. And the Water to you brothers for putting all those comments, precepts on there. And pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time we say Shalom.